Hello, Autry. Welcome to another first chapter read, and we have another special guest for you. Some of you, she's been reading to you since before you could walk. And yes, I'm talking about Miss Mary. She's here to read one of her, she had a hard time choosing, but one of her very favorite books she's reading the first chapter for. So welcome, Miss Mary.
Hello, darlings. I'm so excited to get to do this. I haven't read to people in so long, or at least people that wanted to hear it. So, we're going to start today with The Unteachables by Gordon Corman. Chapter 1. It's no fun riding to school with Stepmonster. Well, not with Chauncey screaming his lungs out in the back seat. Don't get me wrong, I'd cry too if I'd just figured out that the stepmonster is my mother. But at 7 months old, I don't think he's processed that yet. He just cries. He cries when he's hungry. He cries when he's full. He cries when he's tired. He cries when he wakes up. Basically, any day that ends in a Y, Chauncey cries. There also seems to be a connection between his volume control and the gas pedal of the SUV. The louder he howls, the faster the stepmonster drives. "Who's a happy baby?" she coos over her shoulder to the back seat, where the rear-facing car seat is anchored. "Who's a happy big boy?" "Not Chauncey, that's for sure," I tell her. "Hey, school zone, you better slow down." She speeds up. Motion is soothing to a baby. Well, maybe so, but as we slalom up the driveway, swerving around the parked parents dropping off their kids, and screech to a halt by the entrance, it turns out to be one motion too many. Chauncey throws up his breakfast. Suddenly there's cereal on the ceiling and dripping down the windows. Oh, that's another thing about Chauncey. His stomach is a food expander. It goes in a teaspoon and comes out 5 gallons. "Get out of the car!" Stepmonster orders frantically. "You have to come in with me," I protest. "They're not going to let me register without an adult." She looks frazzled, and I guess I don't blame her. That much baby puke has got to be hard to face. "I'll run home, change him, and wipe down the car. Wait for me. 10 minutes, 15 at the most." What can I do? I haul my backpack out of the SUV, and she zooms off around the circular drive. I don't even have the chance to make my usual Parmesan cheese joke. That's what it smells like when Chauncey barfs. When I first came from California to stay with Dad and Stepmonster, I thought they ate a lot of Italian food. That was a disappointment. One of many. So there I am in front of Greenwich Middle School, watching swarms of kids arriving for their first day of classes. A few of them glance in my direction, but not many. New girl. Who cares? Actually, the new girl doesn't care much either. I'm a short timer. I'm only in Greenwich for a couple of months while Mama's off in Utah shooting a movie. She's not a star or anything like that, but this could be her big break. After years of paying the bills with bit parts in sitcoms and TV commercials, she finally landed an independent film. No way I could go with her for 8 weeks. And it was not like I was invited. Eventually a bell rings and the crowd melts into the school. No stepmonster. I'm officially late, which isn't the best way to start my career in Greenwich. But short-timers don't stress over things like that. Long before it could come back to haunt me on a report card, I will be ancient history. I check on my phone. It's been 20 minutes since 10 minutes 15 at the most. That's SST, Stepmonster Standard Time. Maybe that means she's on her way and he'll be here any second. But a lot of seconds tick by, and there is no barf-encrusted SUV. With a sigh, I sit myself down on the bench at the student drop-off and prop my backpack up on the armrest beside me. Stepmonster, her real name is Louise. She isn't really all that monstrous when you think about it. She's way less out of touch than Dad, which might be because she's closer to my age than his. She isn't exactly thrilled with the idea of having an 8th grader dropped off in her lap right when she's getting the hang of being a new mom, and she's trying to be nice to me. She just isn't succeeding. Kind of like when she strands me in front of a strange school when she's supposed to be here to get me registered. The roar of an engine jolts me back to myself. For a second, I think it must be her. But no, a rusty old pickup truck comes sailing up the roadway, going much faster than even Stepmonster would dare. As it reaches the bend in the circular drive, the front tire climbs the curb and the pickup is coming right at me. Acting on instinct alone, I hurl myself over the back of the bench and out of the way. The truck misses the bench by about a centimeter. The side mirror knocks my book bag off the armrest, sending it airborne. The contents, binders, papers, pencil case, gym shorts, sneakers, lunch, are scattered to the four winds, raining down on the pavement. The pickup screeches to a halt. The driver jumps out and starts rushing after my fluttering stuff. As he runs, papers fly out of his shirt pocket and he's chasing his own things, not just mine. I join the hunt, and that's when I get my first look at the guy. He's a kid. He's my age. Why are you driving? I was still in shock from the near miss. Well, I have a license, he replies, like it's the most normal thing in the world. No way, I shoot back. You're no older than I am. I'm 14. He digs around in his front pocket and pulls out a laminated card. It's got a picture of his stupid face over the name Parker Elias. At the top of it, it says, Provisional License. Provisional? I ask. I'm allowed to drive for the family business, he explains. Which is what? A funeral parlor? You almost killed me. Our farm. I take the produce to the market. Plus, I take my Gramps to the senior center. She's super old and doesn't drive anymore. Never met a farmer before. There aren't a lot of them in L.A. And I knew Greenwich was kind of the boonies, but I never expected to be going to school with old MacDonald. He hands me my book bag with my stuff crammed in every which way, and there's a gaping hole where the mirror blasted through the vinyl. I'm running late, so sorry about the backpack. He jumps in the pickup, wheels it into a parking space, and races into the building, studiously ignoring my glare. There's still no sign of Step Monster on the horizon. I call again, and this time it's straight to voicemail. I decide to tackle the school on my own. Maybe I can get a head start filling out the forms or something. The office is a madhouse. It's packed with kids who, A, lost their schedule, B, don't understand their schedules, or C, are trying to get their schedules changed. When I tell the harassed secretary that I'm waiting for my parent and or guardian so I can register, she just points to a chair and then ignores me. Even though I have nothing against Greenwich Middle School, I decide to hate it. Who can blame me? Well, it's mostly Chauncey's fault, but let's not forget Parker McFarmer and his provisional license. My phone pings. A text from Step Monster. Taking Chauncey to the pediatrician, do your best without me, we'll get there ASAP. The secretary comes out from behind the counter and stands before me, frowning. We don't use our phones in school. You have to turn that off and leave it in your locker. I don't have a locker, I told her. I just moved here and I have no idea where I'm supposed to be. She plucks a paper from the sheaf sticking out of the hole in my backpack. Well, it's right here on your schedule. Schedule? Where would I get a schedule? I don't even officially go to school here yet. You're supposed to be in room 117. She rattles off a complicated series of directions. Now, you, go. And off I go. I'm so frazzled I'm halfway down the main hall before I glance at the paper that's supposed to be a schedule. Well, it's a schedule. It's just not mine. At the top, it says, Elias Parker, grade 8. This is Parker McFarmer's schedule. It must have gotten mixed up with my papers when we were gathering up all my stuff. So I take 3 steps back in the direction of the office, and I freeze. I don't want to face that secretary again without Step Monster. And if there's a backlog at the pediatrician's, I'm going to be sitting in that stupid chair all day. No thanks. I weigh my options. It's only a 15-minute walk home. But home isn't really home, and I don't want to be there any more than I want to be here. If I went to all the trouble of waking up and getting ready for school, school's where I might as well be. My eyes return to Parker's schedule. Room 117. Okay, it's not my class, but it is a class. And really, who cares? It's not like I'm going to learn anything in the next 2 months. At least nothing I can't pick up when I get back to civilization. I'm a pretty good student. And when Step Monster finally gets here, they can page me and send me to the right place. Not that I'm going to learn anything there either. I've already learned one lesson Greenwich Middle School has to teach me. 14-year-olds should not drive. That's when I learned lesson number 2. This place is a maze. My school in L.A. is all outdoors. You step out of class and you are in glorious sunshine. You know where you're going next because you can see it across the quad. And the numbers make sense. Here, 109 is next to 111. But the room next to that is labeled Storage Closet E61 through B2. Go figure. I ask a couple of kids who actually do try to tell me that there's no such room as 117. There has to be, I tell the second guy. I'm in it. I show him the schedule, careful to cover the name with my thumb. Wait. His brow furrows. What's... He points to the class description. SCS-8. I blink. Instead of a normal schedule where you go to a different class every period, this says that Parker stays in room 117 all day. Not only that, but under subject it repeats the code SCS-8 for every hour except lunch at 12:08. Oh, here it is. I skip to the bottom where there's a key explaining what the codes mean. SCS-8 is self-contained special 8th grade class. He stares at me. The Unteachables? Unteachables? I echo. He reddens. You know, like the Untouchables, only, these kids aren't untouchable. They're, well, unteachable. Bye. He rushes off down the hall. And I just know. I could read it in his face. I didn't even need that much information. Where would you stick a guy who could annihilate a backpack with a half-ton pickup truck? The Unteachables are the dummy class. We have a couple of groups like that in my middle school in California, too. We call them the Disoriented Express, but it's the same thing. Probably every school has that. I almost marched back to the office to complain when I remember I've got nothing to complain about. Nobody actually put me in the Unteachables, just Parker. When I could see he was in the right place. So I picture myself sitting in the office all day waiting for Stepmonster to arrive. If she arrives, Chauncey's health scares, which happen roughly every 8 minutes, stress her out to the point where she can't focus on anything. To quote Dad, "Geez, Louise." Oh, he really says that. Total dad joke. It's an example of the sense of humor in the non-California branch of my family. So I go to room 117. Turns out it's in the far corner of the school, over by the metal shop, the home and careers room, and the custodian's office. You have to walk past the gym, and the entire hallway smells like old sweat socks mixed with a faint barbecue scent. It's only temporary, I remind myself. And since my whole time in Greenwich is temporary anyway, it's more like temporary squared. Besides, unteachable, so what? Okay, maybe they're not academic superstars, but they're just kids. No different from anybody else. I mean, even Parker is a menace to society behind the wheel of that truck, but besides that, he's a normal 8th grader like the rest of us. Seriously, how unteachable can the Unteachables be? I push open the door, and I walk into room 117. A plume of smoke is pouring out of the single open window. It's coming from the fire roaring in the trash basket in the center of the room. A handful of kids are gathered around it, toasting marshmallows skewered on the end of number 2 pencils. Parker is one of them, and his own marshmallow is blackened like a charcoal briquette. An annoyed voice barks, "Hey, shut the door! You want to set off the smoke detector in the hall?" Oh my God, I'm with the Unteachables.
Thank you, Miss Mary. That was an awesome book. If you want to read The Unteachables, all you have to do is go onto Destiny Discover and put the book on hold. Destiny Discover, you can find it on our website, autryclc.com. Go to resources, and there's Destiny Discover. I think it's like the third one down. And you can log in like you log in for Office 365, and you can check the book out. And then you can pick it up Mondays from 4 to 6 p.m. out in the busport. So if you like the book Unteachables, you may come and check it out too. I hope you enjoyed that, Autry. Have a great day and keep reading.